Well. Welcome everybody to another fantastic day here in Saigon, Vietnam. We have the sun setting. It's late afternoon, early evening here in Saigon, and I'm kind of at the end of the famous walking street here. People are starting to get off work, off school, make their way to play out here. We've got some skateboarders, a couple of children playing with water guns, it looks like. But I wanted to get outside today. I wanted to do a new vlog. I wanted to talk to you guys about a specific topic that I've been thinking about for a while, and that is, how safe do I feel in Vietnam? Now that's a very general, broad topic that we can cover a lot of things on, so I'll try my best to hit a few of them that I think are most important. Xin chào. And hopefully this will be helpful for you guys if you're thinking about coming to Vietnam or have ever thought about this topic yourselves. So the first thing I want to touch on is kind of the should I even say it? The dark word. COVID-19, the coronavirus. First I want to talk about that. I touched on this a little bit in one of my previous vlogs. I said how Vietnam has been kind of one of the best countries in the world at handling the situation. So you can see that I'm walking outside. In all my previous vlogs, I've been walking outside, no mask, because there is no mandatory mask rule right now. And people are outside freely taking Instagram photos, maskless. When I walk down the street here, I feel comfortable. And that's because from the beginning, the Vietnamese government has handled this situation incredibly well. I think the latest numbers that I heard were under 400 total cases, 0 deaths. Almost everyone has completely recovered. And there hasn't been a new case that's been locally transmitted within Vietnam for almost 3 months now. So those numbers really help me feel more confident about being outside. It's not even a thought in my brain that I would get coronavirus while I'm out here, which is amazing because I know a lot of people are stuck at home under forced quarantines and whatnot, and I don't think about that at all, which is fantastic. Now, it was a little scary when I first got to Vietnam and everyone went on red alert. When I arrived in Hanoi in early March, it was a different country. That place was dark and dreary. No one was outside. I had one of the scariest experiences of my life when the hotel staff called my hotel room and said, Jay? Excuse me, Mr. J? You are going to have to leave the hotel today. I said, why? Didn't I pay you enough money? They said, sorry, sir, we'll refund you. In fact, there's 2 people on the floor below you. They have tested positive for COVID-19, so we need to shut down the hotel, scrub it, ceiling to floor, and then maybe we'll reopen up. But for now, you have to go to a new hotel. Okay, I'm out of here. But that was scary. You guys can imagine. I didn't know if maybe I had touched the same elevator button that they did, the same door handle, written with the same pen. At that point, I was like, oh shit, this is real? And I'm in the middle of it. And you can imagine that the attitude for foreigners in Hanoi was a lot different then. A lot different. Because just like probably I would have felt, man, these foreigners that are here, they're the ones that have brought this coronavirus to Vietnam. I can remember a specific example. I walked into a t-shirt shop. I needed a couple new t-shirts. I walked in, I said, hey, hello, xin chào. I need a couple new t-shirts. Do you have the big size? They looked at me. I'm gonna put you guys up here. They looked at me as I finished talking and they said, and they pointed at the door and shook their head. And I was just like, Well, that wasn't very welcoming. So my experience right in the beginning was tough. And Hanoi in general was a different beast. In fact, when I was in Hanoi, I also had one of the most common crimes that occurred in Vietnam happen to me. And that's right, yeah, I had every single person tell me, Jay, watch out for your phone. They will try to steal your phone. Keep your phone in your pocket. Well, I got jacked. I was out drinking late one night. I was actually doing a live stream. There was no one else out on the road, and a motorbike pulled up to me very slowly. Now, you might think, well, why didn't you just run, Jay? Well, there's a reason I didn't run, because I had been lulled into this false sense of security with motorbikes. For the few days that I was there before, motorbikes will simply pull up to you. They could be Grab drivers or just random old dudes that have one tooth and say, motorbike, do you need a ride? Where are you going? This happens often. At least once every 15 minutes if you're walking on the road as a foreigner. You will have a motorbike guy come up to you and ask you those questions. So I got used to them coming up to me and me saying, no, no thank you, it's okay. And I would just continue walking. Because I'm the type of guy that likes to walk through a city, not necessarily motorbike, unless I have a specific location and I have to be there ASAP. Well, guess what? 2:30 a.m., a few beers deep, crossing a dark street, a motorbike approaches me, he slows down, gets close. Of course, I thought he was gonna ask me, do you need a ride home? Where are you going? Nah, that didn't happen. Yoinked my cell phone right out of my hand. I actually had it on a lanyard around my neck to prevent theft, but the lanyard just snapped. He pulled it so hard and he was on the motorbike, he just took off running. And I actually got it, that clip, live on stream. And maybe I'll put it in this video. So at that point, I felt not very safe. To make matters worse, I didn't have my phone. It was 2:30 at night in a place that I had only been for 3 days. I finally managed to find where my hotel was. Luckily, I was only a block or two away. And when I got there, the hotel was locked with no security. Very, very stressful night. And at that point, I think for the next few weeks, I kind of felt like Vietnam was a dangerous place. Now, the whole cell phone thing, that happens to everybody. And it really is true that once it happens to you, you are so much more highly cognizant of where your cell phone is at all times. Now, I do this thing where I have my cell phone out a lot, but since that event, you see when I cross the street, I'll bring the camera very close to my face, or my cell phone very close to my chest. And that's just instinctual now. Then it wasn't, but now it is. And in a way, I'm thankful that that happened to me on the second or third night that I was in Vietnam, because now I think it's a little bit better.
Take care.
Excuse me?
Take care of this one.
Okay.
Be careful.
Thank you so much. I will. I'll be careful. And there you go, guys. Even the locals will tell you, be careful about your cameras and about your phone. It's pretty crazy, right? So hopefully we don't get anything stolen today on this vlog. That would be a bad ending to this vlog. But I do want to talk about one last topic. Aside from the COVID, aside from phone stealing and theft here, petty theft, when I came to Saigon, one day I woke up and I had some chest pain. And it's not normal for me to have chest pain. It was right here on the right side, kind of lower, underneath my boob. And I had never had anything like that before. I went to bed that night thinking, if I wake up with the same pain, I probably should go to the hospital. Now, I had the worst imagination of what a Vietnamese hospital would look like. I imagine, at the time, we were seeing these photos coming out of China. I don't know if they were real or not, but like people laying on the floor with blankets, masks, just overcrowded. That is what that bus is on one, huh? That is what I pictured the Vietnamese hospital to be like. So I was like, I mean, the worst things were coming to my head. The worst, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I thought I was gonna have to go to a Vietnamese hospital. It was just overrun by people. But that actually wasn't the case. When I entered the hospital, because I was suggested to go to a foreign hospital from multiple friends. When I entered there, the service was impeccable. It looked absolutely identical to any hospital I'd ever been before. Just as good as America, just as good as France. Those are the two countries that I've lived in previously. Maybe even better, to be honest, because they sent me straight to the emergency room for the chest pain. And I didn't have to wait more than 10 minutes to actually have a nurse with me to take my temperature, to ask me about my symptoms, etc. So I was really, really impressed at the speed and kind of the customer service that they had. After the nurse had taken all the preliminaries, I got to talk to the doctor right after that. It was probably about 10 more minutes, to be honest. The process moved much more quickly than I'm used to. Even back home in America, you go to an emergency room, you are gonna be stuck in there for hours. At least that's been my experience before. You're stuck for hours until you can actually see someone. That wasn't the case here. I was pretty much the only patient around, and like I said, I saw a doctor in 20 minutes and a nurse in 10. The doctor spoke English, clearly explained to me exactly what the symptoms could be, like what I could have due to these symptoms, and ran me through each of the tests that I would take to see if those symptoms meant that I had this thing. I ended up having to take a blood test to see if I had blood clots. I took an x-ray to see if it was a lung injury. And she said, well, if those two things are negative, then you should just go home, rest a few days. I'll give you a prescription for something to make you feel a little bit better, and come back if it gets worse. So overall, I was incredibly impressed by that treatment. Now, this was a foreigner hospital. I've never been to a local Vietnamese hospital, so I don't know if that's any different, but that's okay. I was 100%. I was 100% confident. Now I would feel very comfortable going back. So yeah, so I talked a little bit about COVID in Vietnam. I talked about kind of my personal safety stories with me getting my phone stolen and me going to the hospital, which were very scary moments in my life, believe it or not. Being in a new place where you don't know exactly how everything works and that happening. But I think I'm gonna cut the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any other questions or topics you want me to talk about, as someone who's been in Vietnam for 4 months now and kind of just learning everything as I go, being kind of trapped here, please leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Much love, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next vlog.